Hello, good morning all. I'm Dr. Hina Sakuja, and today I will discuss a very important topic with you, and which is the everyday questions going on in everybody's mind. Because I have come to these questions nowadays, so I decided to make a very informative video for all of you to make you aware about all these topics. So this is a very important part of everybody's life, and the questions which are coming to me is first of all, it is this long term sexual satisfaction. So, what is the secret? Once the flutters of a new relationships are over, for many, the slog of everyday life sets in. But how do you keep the spark alive? Sex is a key factor in most romantic relationships. The afterglow that newlywed couples feel for up to 2 days after having sex is associated with greater marital satisfaction. But a new study shows that 34% of women and 15% of men who had lived with partner for at least 1 year had lost interest in sex. There are many factors that can affect sexual desire. Find out how much sex has the greatest effect on happiness. Why some people lost interest and what factors contribute to long-term sexual satisfaction. Today I will talk according to the different research that have been happened and gone through nowadays, recent research, and we will talk about all the facts and figures. So, how much sex is enough? This is also a very common question nowadays coming to me, and so there is plenty of evidence that the more sex people reported, the happier they felt. However, people also questions whether trying to have sex as frequently as possible is actually going to have the desired effect. So, particularly in light of busy lives that many people led. So, this is a conflict and a question going on in everybody's mind. So, is the pressure of having frequent sex getting in the way of happiness? So, according to me, a clear relationship between the frequency of sex and happiness. There is a clear relationship, and what we have find out and what the research are saying is that the people who had sex once per week or more often were significantly happier than those who had sex less often. But the study which happened, so the study participants who had sex on several occasions per week were not happier than those who had sex once per week. So the results were true for individuals who were in a romantic relationship, including women, older participants, and those in long-term relationships who had tend to have less sex. Interestingly, having sex had a greater effect on participants happier than income. So, if sex makes us happy, why do so many people lose interest? So, we will discuss this also. So, who loses interest in sex? There is plenty of evidence that being in a long term relationship, being a woman, and increasing age are linked to a drop in sexual frequency. Last year, a report says that women's sexual desire decreased in long term relationships. However, over the 7-year study period, the participants' ability to reach orgasm improved, especially in those who had been in the same relationship the entire time. So, for women, staying with a partner means better orgasm but less interest in sex, according to the research. Last week, a new study published in one book that adds to the body of evidence showing that women's interest in sex decreases in relationships. It is found that more than 34% of women who had lived with their partner for at least 1 year lacked interest in sex. Only 15% of men did. So, what are the biggest turn-offs? It is identified a number of factors that were associated with a drop in sexual desire. For women, these were having young children, having been pregnant in the past year, living with their partner, being in a longer relationship, not sharing the same level of sexual interest, and not sharing the same sexual preferences. For both the genders, health conditions including depression, not feeling close to their partner during sex, and being less happy with their relationship, and having sex uh, often than they were interested in, all contributed to a drop in sexual interest. Age was another factor. Men experienced the lowest level of interest in lowest level of interest in sex between the ages of 35 and 44, while for women this was between 55 and 64. So, it is also found that when men felt that their partner expected them to always initiate sex, it had a negative effect on their sexual satisfaction. And the sexual desire discrepancy, which is the difference between the actual and desired frequency of sex, was a negative factor for both men and women. Sexual function also played a role for the couples in a study. So, men were affected by their partner's lack of sexual function, such as lack of arousal, while women were more affected by the partner's distress about their own sexual problems, such as erectile dysfunction, which is very common nowadays but can be treated very easily. So, how does masturbation fit into the picture? It is found that women masturbation negatively affect their sexual satisfaction, but masturbation had no effect on men in these couples. Meanwhile, it is also found that men who had recently masturbated were less interested in sex, while masturbation was not related to a change in women's sex drive. It is also found striking gender differences in factors associated with frequency of masturbation in men and women. When men were having less partnered sex, they tended to uh, masturbate more often, whereas the reverse was true for women. With 51.7% of male and 17.8% of female participants reporting to have masturbated in the 7 days prior to study interviews. This is clearly a factor that is important in many relationships. But just how masturbation contributes to or distracts from long-term sexual satisfaction remains to be seen. And with significant levels of both men and women reporting a drop in sexual interest and satisfaction. So, is there a secret to keeping the spark alive? The secret to What is the secret to sexual satisfaction now? So, in a study, it is found that for both men and women, penile vaginal intercourse and the consistency of being able to reach vaginal orgasm were associated with sexual satisfaction. Special role that vaginal orgasm had in maintaining higher quality intimate relationships. Recently studied the link between affection and sexual activity. So, in one study, it was published in one bulletin explaining that when engaging in sex, people not only seek an intimate connection but indeed experience more affection both when having sex and in the next several hours. Thus, sex with romantic relationship provides a meaningful way for people to experience a strong connection with their partners. This indicates that sex is important in romantic relationships because of the emotional benefits that we feel. Affection could help maintain well being despite decreased sex frequency. So, these were the important questions which I was getting nowadays, and so I decided to discuss about all these topics. So, this is all for today from me, and every time all the questions are welcomed by us. You can reach our team or you can reach directly to me. Thank you so much.